Alright, what's going on, guys? This is Manalki, and today we're having a look at Anomaly Warzone Earth. This is a game published in 2011 by 11-Bit Studios. It was released on PC, Mac, mobile, and Xbox. 11-Bit Studios are responsible for not only making the rest of the Anomaly series, but also a game called This War of Mine, as well as the more recent Frostpunk, both of which have received critical acclaim. So what is Anomaly Warzone Earth? Well, basically, it's kind of a tower defense turned on its head. So it's kind of a tower offense, you might call it. So instead of building a series of traps or turrets for monsters or aliens to wander through and get killed, it's kind of backwards. So basically, you're the invading force, and the enemy actually has the towers and the traps that you need to sort of maneuver around. And there's a system of picking particular routes to maybe avoid certain traps or get certain pickups and that kind of thing. It's an interesting formula that works surprisingly well. In addition, you also have a little commander unit who runs around on the battlefield along with your units that are moving, and he has certain abilities that he can activate, and you'll find these abilities as you destroy enemy towers, and sometimes you'll get airdrops and that sort of thing. These abilities really help spice up the gameplay outside of the usual just pick a route kind of thing. For example, one ability is a smoke screen that makes it really hard for enemy turrets to target your units. And another one is kind of an airstrike that you can call down and destroy particular turrets that are giving you a lot of trouble. In addition to the various commander abilities, there's also quite a few units to pick from. So as you destroy towers, you earn money, and you can use that money to buy more units. So you have tanks, which are really tanky. You have missile units, which do a lot of damage from a long range. You also have shields, which can protect adjacent units. There's even supply units, which will help you pull in more power-ups. So the combination of the different types of units and the different types of power-ups that you can use offensively, it really comes together to make a really interesting sort of blend of gameplay that's actually really fun to play. And of course, as the game progresses, there's also a wide variety of different enemy turrets and towers you need to face, and of course you have to use different tactics to overcome each one. Now, the campaign isn't insanely long or anything. If I recall, it's about 14 missions or so. The first few missions, of course, as you can imagine, are quite quick and easy to get through. And as, of course, you get farther in, some of the missions take quite a bit longer. Near the end, they were taking me an hour or more, sometimes a couple hours, to try and figure out how to get through this mission and how to beat it. So there's a good ramp-up of challenge and difficulty, and there's quite a bit of time to be had in this game. It's not so long as to be obnoxious, but it is definitely long enough that, personally for me, I was having a good time with it. I was enjoying the game, enjoying the campaign, but for me, by the time I got to the end, I was ready for it to be over. When it does end, there's a couple of extra modes that can offer some replayability. There's the Tokyo Raid and the Baghdad Mayhem modes, and decent little extra replayability modes that I think really add to the game, and I'm glad they put them in there, because, you know, once you beat the campaign, you're probably going to take a rest or whatever, but you might want to come back and play a little bit more Anomaly, and you're probably not going to want to play the campaign again. So there's these cool little modes you can just hop into and play around with, and I really appreciate that. Tokyo Raid was basically progressing to the next level, like get through this level, then you get to the next area, to the next level, the next area, the next level. Whereas Baghdad Mayhem was more of you kind of staying on the same map, kind of do something over here, and then okay, now you need to do it over here in a certain amount of time, and then okay, now go over here and do it a certain amount of time, kind of thing. It's a really interesting gameplay loop, and I actually didn't mind it. So what do I like about the game? Well, first of all, I really like the unique gameplay. Just turning the whole tower defense formula on its head like this, I think is really cool. And it's nice to see a company doing that. I've always been a big fan of the tower defense genre, so to see it take this turn, I think is really cool and really interesting, and I really enjoyed it. There's also a really good enemy variety in the game. Like I said, there's a bunch of different towers that do a bunch of different things. There's a decent amount of units that you can pick from, and you know, abilities you can change up. So there's a lot of different tactics to be had here, so the gameplay is solid, and I definitely like it that way. The game's visuals aren't groundbreaking, but they look pretty damn good, and they certainly do the job. There's a lot of nice lighting effects and explosion effects, and of course in a game like this, that's kind of what you want. You got to see those explosions, right? And the graphics are good. Like, they're not horrible, and they're not amazingly, incredibly insane, but they do the job. So the game looks really good. The interface has a nice level of polish, everything's clean, everything just works, it just looks good. It's a good looking game. If you watch a lot of my videos, you know that I could care less about visuals and production value, but as always, credit where it's due. The game controls really well, it feels good to play. Not only does it support mouse and keyboard, but remember, it released on Xbox, right? So it also has controller support, and I can tell you from experience, this game plays really good on a controller. It's surprising, but it just feels really good to play it on a controller. Just everything just, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. It just feels really good. All the buttons seem to make sense. The movement seems to make sense. Everything kind of feels good. It's intuitive and it's easy. So they did a really nice job on the control scheme, which is kind of a weird thing to comment about, but it's definitely something that appeals to me. I'm a PC gamer, but when I can find a game that feels good with the controller and I can just sit back on the couch and play it, I think that's great. And as I said before, the game has really good replayability. There's those extra game modes that's going to offer a lot of extra play time to anybody who's interested. I know I'm certainly going to be playing them. I've tested them out for a little bit just to play around with it, and they're, like I said, they're interesting little wave modes, and I've always liked wave modes in games, so yeah, they're fun little things to play around with after you finish with the campaign, so it's nice to see them put in some replayability there. So what don't I like about the game? First and foremost, I'd have to say probably the story. Now, obviously, when you play a game like this, you're probably not in it for the story, to be totally honest, but for me personally, I like a story in a game, and if you're looking for that, you're not going to find it here. Anomaly Warzone Earth's story is a little goofy. Okay, alien ship crashes on Earth and it makes a dome and it has turrets or something. Kind of a silly story, and this is compounded by the absolutely atrocious writing. The writing in this game is just brutal. The characters will say the dumbest things.
This power field makes Big Ben look like a midget.
And you're just going to be cringing your whole way through it. Good game, yes. Good story, no. The voice acting. Oh, holy freaking crap, the voice acting in this game. Wow. It's almost comically bad. They've got this ridiculously contrived British accent. What is it with British accent? Why does every video game have to have everybody speaking in a British accent?
Got some fine new supplies for you. Don't use them all up at once now, you hear?
Anyways, it's so bad in this game. I don't know what to say. It's terrible. Everybody has this ridiculous contrived accent, and everybody just sounds so dumb. Like they couldn't get better voice actors, or maybe some of the programmers were doing some of the voice acting, or it was like his friend that'll do it for free, or I don't know what the case is. I don't know what happened with the voice acting in this game. Clearly they didn't care. Again, as with the story, that's not what the doctor ordered here. This game is about the gameplay, but honestly, the voice acting is so bad, it's almost a put-off. Like, it's so bad it's a put-off. Another problem with the game is it has some flaws in terms of being able to game the system. This part might be a little bit spoilerific, but we're going to talk about closer to the end of the game for a second, so if you don't want to be spoiled on stuff, click away now. Okay, so basically, near the end of the game, there's a point where there's this giant laser shooting at you, and you need to, put down smoke screens and decoys and such to try and make it so that your units don't get massacred. Well, there's a way to get around that, and it's really, really stupid. So you can sell your units mid-mission and then repurchase them. So what people are doing is people are just getting up to the laser and then selling other units so that only one unit passes in front of the laser relatively quickly, and then once you're clear of the danger, you just buy all your units back. So it's a very cheeseball way of getting through things, and I don't know if it's an oversight or something like that. Maybe they could have planned that a little better. But there's certain points like that you can really game the system, and it just kind of makes you roll your eyes when you kind of see it. But if you can put up with that, that's fine. Or just don't do that. That's one option, right? But just the fact that that's kind of in there is kind of like, ugh. And as I said before, the game was good, but by the time it ended out, I really was ready for it to end. I was starting to feel a little bit burnt out on the game. Like, again, don't get me wrong, I was enjoying my time with it, but by the end of it, I was really starting to feel, I don't want to say repetition, because that's not a bad thing. I think that word is misused today in video game reviews. Oh, it's repetitive. It's not a bad thing, but anyway, I was definitely feeling a burn by the end. I was ready for that to be over. Again, good game, but maybe a little bit too drawn out. But that's kind of an argument to be had about value proposition of money. Is the game long enough and all that jazz? But anyway, like I said, good game, but definitely stretching the limits of my patience, I think. So overall, what do I think? I'm probably going to give this game a 7 out of 10. I really, really enjoyed it. It definitely has its issues with the, the gaminess of it and the long, drawn-out story mode. And holy hell, that acting. But at the end of the day, the game was solid. It looks good. It feels good. It plays good. And I'll definitely be checking out the other entries in this series. And I'll probably be playing more of those extra modes that get bundled with the game. But I think that just about sums it up. So that's going to be it for this one. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time.